Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I've had this one for a bit. I didn't want to rush and make a video, but I also don't really need 20 minutes to cover it. So here's a quick take that took a while to get to. But before we get into that, don't forget to check this great discount for it. You can find the link in both the video description and the top comment below. Alright, enough talk. Let's get right into it.
Now, let's hear directly from our first reviewer about their experience.
This reviewer purchased this monitor to pair with a new compact computer, seeking a sweet spot between affordability and performance. While acknowledging it might not match the premium display offered by the computer's own manufacturer, our reviewer found the significant cost savings made this the logical choice, especially since they were moving away from all-in-one systems for the first time in many years. Despite a slight learning curve that comes with switching to a separate display, they are very satisfied with their decision. The physical adjustability is a standout feature, with the height, tilt, and even vertical rotation capabilities earning high praise. Our reviewer is still fine-tuning the picture settings to find the perfect balance, but notes that the display is exceptionally bright, requiring them to keep the setting near its lowest level. A major selling point was the built-in USB hub, which adds valuable connectivity for peripherals. However, setting this up wasn't immediately obvious. They discovered that a specific included cable must be connected between the monitor and the computer to power these extra USB ports. This detail was not clear from the picture-only instructions and required a bit of troubleshooting. By sharing this, they hoped to save others some initial confusion. The extra ports proved incredibly useful, allowing them to connect and charge devices like their smartphone and saving them from needing to purchase a separate USB hub for their new system. One final point they mentioned was opting to use a specific adapter cable rather than a standard one, based on research suggesting it might offer better performance with their particular computer. The only real drawback they encountered was the lack of a built-in camera, something they hadn't considered after years of using all-in-one machines. This was easily remedied with an inexpensive external webcam from an online retailer. Overall, this client.
Starting things off, our first reviewer gives us their perspective.
This reviewer found this monitor to be beautiful right out of the box. They ran into a small snag during setup, initially using an adapter that prevented them from accessing the full resolution, but once that was sorted out, the display looked fantastic. The main search was for a color-accurate screen, so our reviewer hadn't paid much attention to other features and was pleasantly surprised by how well-suited this display is for creative work. It includes thoughtful details like degree markings on the stand and the back of the panel, making it easy to set precise viewing angles. The stand itself is tall enough to allow for a full 90-degree rotation into portrait mode without needing any secondary adjustments, which is a huge plus for workflow. On-screen overlays like grids for the rule of thirds, a digital ruler, and guides for standard paper sizes were an exciting discovery for the user's design and illustration work. While there's also a physical ruler on the bezel, they found it a bit hard to see against the screen's light, though it's still a neat touch. The display itself is gorgeous, with the resolution providing a perfect sweet spot. Colors are excellent, and our reviewer appreciated how simple it was to switch between different color modes and access other settings. They did have a couple of minor complaints, however. The first was that one of the professional color space presets appeared overly green, though they admit this might be a characteristic of that particular standard. The second issue was the screen's intense brightness. To make it comfortable for long sessions, the brightness had to be turned all the way down to a very low setting, which seems counterintuitive for a product designed for users who spend hours in front of it. Despite these small issues, the overall experience has been overwhelmingly positive, and this client is extremely happy with their choice.
Alright, let's find out what our next reviewer has to share.
This reviewer is genuinely impressed with this monitor, stating it's their first experience with a 2K display and they're struggling to find anything negative to say about it. Right now, the brightness is dialed way down to 10% because that works best in their dimly lit workspace, and it still looks fantastic. Our reviewer particularly likes the blue light blocking feature. At first, they weren't sure it was working, but after looking away at a regular TV screen for a few minutes, the monitor definitely had a noticeably warmer yellowish tint, confirming its effectiveness. Hooking this monitor up to a brand new PC built with an ASUS motherboard and case was a breeze, firing right up with a DisplayPort cable. The refresh rate is running at 60 Hz, and they haven't noticed any flickering, dead pixels, or other imperfections. The physical bezel around the sides and top is quite slim, about 1/16 of an inch. However, there's also an inactive border on the LED panel itself, about 1/4 inch on the sides and a smaller strip on the top and bottom. This is essentially unused space. According to our reviewer's measurements, the active display area measures exactly 27 inches diagonally. It's also worth noting what comes in the box. This client received an HDMI cable and a USB cable with their monitor, although the specs suggest cable inclusions can vary. It supports both DisplayPort 1.2 and HDMI v1.4 connections. Speaking of which, the stand is well designed. It allows you to easily rotate the monitor from landscape to portrait mode, which also makes accessing the ports on the back much easier. Finally, a crucial piece of advice. If you decide to buy this monitor, definitely use a DisplayPort or USB-C cable. Apparently, using an HDMI connection results in a blindingly bright, pure blue screen for about 5 seconds during startup and shutdown. The reviewer found it extremely annoying and recommends avoiding HDMI to bypass this issue. They haven't tested USB-C personally, but have read that it also prevents the blue screen from appearing.
And that's a wrap. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've got thoughts. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.